This last weekend I spent in Bakersfield, California. Maybe you've been through there before. It's kind of where I grew up, but it's where my parents still live. And they've got like a pool, like kidney bean shaped pool, and it's got a hot tub kind of connected to it. And we don't have a pool or anything at my house. And so whenever we go there, my kids are just amped to do it. So all 4 of them now, and they'll jump in, they play, they splash around, they love it a lot. But right now in Bakersfield, it's fairly cold, right? It's not like freezing, but at night it's desert climate, so it gets pretty chilly. And then so the pool cools way, way down. So in the middle of that night, it gets so cold that even if the next day is in like the 70s or the 80s, the pool is still a little bit colder, probably like than the ocean would get. So my kids are swimming in the hot tub and they're hanging out in there. And my son, Leo, my youngest, he starts throwing these golf balls. He loves to play catch and stuff like that, and starts throwing golf balls into the pool. Well, my parents' pool is probably like 7.5 feet deep, something like that. And in the summertime, Peyton, my oldest, who just turned 6, actually today, he would go down to the bottom of the pool and he would pick up like those diving sticks, stuff like that. And so he's in the hot tub and then the ball's at the bottom. And so I said, hey, Peyton, why don't you jump in and get those golf balls and bring them back up? And he's like, I can't do it. And so I started explaining to him like every bit of stuff that he knows to be true over and over and over again. And he keeps questioning, he keeps having an issue, and he has this constant doubt in what's going on. And it kind of led me to believe, how can you answer yes to questions A, B, C, and D, but then you won't jump in? In Scripture, John chapter 11, it's one of the most famous passages in Scripture. And one of Jesus' friends named Lazarus dies. And so he goes to the house to meet with Lazarus, or to meet Lazarus' family, knowing that he has passed away. And verse 21 of chapter 11 says this, Lord, Martha said to Jesus, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. So when she says, if you had been here, she's implying that Jesus has the power to stop people from dying. If you would have been here, we know that you have the power to make dead or to make living things stay alive. But I know now that even God will give you whatever you ask. You see these, I call them like religious platitudes. It's things that we might say out loud, but I'm not quite sure that they've made the journey between our head and our heart. We know on the Scantron, we would check the box that say this is true, but sometimes it doesn't play out in the way that we live. If you had been here, I believe that you have the power to prevent death. And now, I know that God will give you whatever you ask. So she says these things. You can prevent death and God will give you whatever you ask. Jesus said to her, your brother will rise again. And then we quickly see how deep her platitudes went. Martha said, I know he will rise again in the resurrection on the last day. So instead of doubling down on her belief that he can do this, she kind of pulls back here and says, yeah, on the last day, everyone's going to come back from the dead. Jesus said to her, I am presently the resurrection. I am presently the life. The one who believes in me will live even though they die. And whoever lives by believing in me will never die. Do you believe this? Yes, Lord, she replied. I believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of God, who has come into this world. So she says all these big platitudes. You can do this. You can stop people from dying. God will give you whatever you ask. You are the resurrection. You are the life. And then he says, okay, then roll away the stone and I'm going to call Lazarus out. And she goes, no, because he's been there for a long time, so he might smell really bad. And you kind of see the heart. You kind of go, wait, you said you believed A, B, C, and D, but then when push came to shove and you were called to put your chips in and to go all in on what God can do, you thought that Jesus was going to be stopped by odor? Right? How does this work? And this is what Peyton did. Peyton, do I ever intentionally put you in harm's way? No. Do you know that I'm right here if anything ever were to happen? Yes. Do you know that I've seen you do this 100 times in the summer? Yes. Do you know that being cold is you might have that little when you first get in, but you can absolutely do this. And I'm going to be here with you. And if you want me to go in with you, I'll do that as well. Yes. I believe all of these things to be true. Okay, then you're ready to go. And he wouldn't do it. Why? Because though he could pass the Scantron in his head, it didn't settle as a conviction to his heart. And that's because there's doubts, there's insecurities, there's things, but oftentimes because we tell ourselves we believe something, but we got to step back and go, is there fruit from this conviction in my heart, or is there just platitudes of these thoughts in my head? And today, just challenge yourself on something. Do I actually trust God to do what he said he's going to do? Because that's the basis of all faith. And if there's an area in our life where we're not surrendering because we believe, I know it to be true, but I don't know it here, maybe challenge yourself to find those things and surrender those over to God. We'll see you tomorrow.